Today we're going to talk about learning disabilities, the concept, types, causes, effects, myths, and celebrities with learning disabilities.
Learning disability. A learning disability is a neurological disorder. There are lifelong difficulties with certain skills, such as reading or writing in individuals with normal intelligence. Between 5 and 15% of people have them. Some people struggle in only one of these areas, but it's common to struggle in more than one. Learning disabilities look very different from one children to other. One children may struggle with reading and spelling, while other loves books but can understand math. Still, another children may have difficulties understanding what others are saying or communicating out loud. The problems are very different, but they are all learning disabilities. Learning disabilities are caused by biological differences. Research has shown that brain structure and functions is different in people who have them. Heredity has also plays a role. Learning disabilities run in families. There are still many myths about learning and thinking difference, which include learning disability. A common myth is that they aren't real and that people are just being lazy. Learning disabilities aren't about laziness, they are also not related to intelligence. People who have them have weakness in a specific area. You may hear learning disabilities called learning disorders or specific learning disability. You may have also heard terms that refer to a specific type of learning disability, like dyslexia. Children with learning disabilities are as smart or smarter than their peers. But they may have difficulties reading, writing, spelling, resolving, recalling, and/or reorganizing information if left to figure things out by themselves or if taught in conversational ways. A learning disability can't be cured or fixed. It's a lifelong issue. With the right support and intervention, however, children with learning disability can succeed in school and go on to successful, often distinguished careers later in life. Parents can help children with learning disabilities achieve such success by encouraging their strengths, knowing their weaknesses, understanding the educational system, working with professionals, and learning about strategies for dealing with specific difficulties.
Types of learning disabilities. Dyslexia affects reading and related language-based processing skills. It's the most common form of all learning disabilities, in which a person has trouble understanding words, sentences, or paragraphs. People with dyslexia often have problems with processing or understanding what they read or hear. Nonverbal learning disability. They have trouble interpreting facial expressions or body language and may have poor coordination. They have a remarkable memory and spelling skills and a strong auditory retention, although they possess a poor social skill. Dysgraphia affects a person's handwriting ability and fine motor skills. People find it hard to form letters and write within a defined space. Many people with dysgraphia possess handwriting that is uneven and inconsistent. Many are able to write legible, but do so very slow or very small. Dyscalculia, a specific learning disability that affects a person's ability to understand numbers and learn math facts. Dyscalculia is a lifelong learning condition. There are many different types of math learning disorder, and this can affect people differently at different stages of a person's life. People with dyscalculia often have difficulty manipulating numbers in their head and remembering steps in formulas and equations. Dyspraxia. Dyspraxia is a disorder that affects the development of motor skills People with dyspraxia have trouble planning and executing fine motor tasks, which can range from waving goodbye to getting dressed. ADHD is a disorder that causes people to lose focus on tasks very easily, and visual processing disorder are disorders that cause people to struggle with seeing the differences between similar letters, numbers, objects, colors, shapes, and patterns.
Now I'm gonna talk about some causes or reasons of learning disabilities. The first reason is inherited conditions. This means that some genes from the parents may be transferred to the baby and may affect the brain development. Chromosomes abnormalities, as Down syndrome or Turner syndrome, for example. Complications during the birth, as the lack of oxygen on the brain. A very premature birth. Mother's illness during pregnancy. Mother drinking during pregnancy, which can cause fetal alcohol syndrome. Injuries during the early years. Contact with damaging material. And also the lack of mental stimulations during the early years may cause learning disabilities. Learning disabilities may have impact on the person's life. These are some of them. In the academic field, writing and reading may be slow and even a challenge. It's not rare the fact that they have to reread a piece of text more than once. It's common to see that they need more time to process the information they receive, and sometimes they have problems to keep focused and paying attention. Some effects on the social and employment area are that they may have problems maintaining friendships, relationships, and finding a job. This is due to the fact that organization, control, and planning may be a challenge for them.
Myths. The first one is that learning disabilities are linked to a lower IQ. The second one, that people with learning disabilities cannot have successful careers. And the last one, children with learning disabilities are lazy.
Some historical figures who had learning difficulties or disabilities are Charles Darwin. He had problems with grammar, spelling, and punctuation. Albert Einstein. He suffered from Asperger's syndrome. He had obsessive, single minded interests, and many people believe that he suffered from dyscalculia, which is a mathematical learning disorder that allowed him to see numbers and formulas differently from the other people. However, this was never demonstrated. And finally, but not less important, Leonardo da Vinci. Experts say he showed signs of dyslexia and ADHD. He also wrote backwards, didn't use the correct spelling, and didn't complete many of his projects. Thanks for your attention.